Democrat leaders making excuses after a violent teen takeover terrorizes Chicago. Hundreds rampaging through the streets, blocking traffic, smashing car windows, and destroying property. 2 teens were shot during the chaos, and the whole thing was apparently organized on social media. Police were outnumbered and only managed to make 15 arrests. A woman caught up in the mayhem describing the scene after her car was attacked.
I jump in my car. My husband go to the hospital.
What did they do?
Because the guys I put in their face.
But some top Democrats think it was just teens being teens. Chicago Mayor-elect Brandon Johnson condemning what happened, but also said it is, quote, not constructive to demonize youth. And the city's outgoing mayor, Lori Lightfoot, said this.
There's lots of opportunities for us to redirect the young people to safe spaces. And here's the thing. The vast majority of the young people who came downtown because it was a great weather and an opportunity to enjoy the city. That's absolutely entirely appropriate. There are a few that came with different intentions, and they have and they will be dealt with. But I'm not going to use your language, which I think is wrong, to say that it's mayhem.
Chicago's chaos comes as crime makes more headlines in New York City. Republicans holding a hearing that featured victims of liberal policies.
All types of criminal elements, free to do what they want, when they want, however they want, to whomever they want, with no consequences, no deterrents.
Do you believe that the criminals who murdered your son received justice?
Absolutely not. There should be no plea deals for murder.
Do you feel your family was treated appropriately in the criminal justice system?
Absolutely not. We were treated like garbage.
Greg, we're here again on a Monday. A lot of this crime does seem to blow up, especially in Chicago on the weekends. Your take on the Chicago scene or the New York hearing?
I just find it amazing when language is always deemed more offensive than the deeds that led to the language. So if you express any outrage about mob violence and you use terms, if you, God forbid, you use the word, these people are acting like animals, that's racist. How dare you? That is worse than a man getting beaten up by a mob. That's the world we live in right now. I love that the mayor bemoans the lack of adult supervised activity. You know, this is the mayor that canceled homework. The unspeakable truth here is that rioting is fun only because it is unsupervised. You think these miscreants are going to say, you know, I wouldn't do this if there were some activities. Maybe there might be a potluck at the church we could go to. There are mindsets right now that are competing for the brains. And I'm going to say young blacks because I'm going to assume that these crowds were mostly black. I can't tell, you know, but safe guess, just because we talk about Chicago, we talk about the crime that's going on there that's affecting black minorities and black families most. Republicans often say, you know, you can do anything as long as you get an education and you stay out of trouble. The world is your oyster. And the left does the opposite. They say you can't do anything. Racism is an ever-present, overwhelming obstacle. And what does that do? Ironically, is it tells all these young kids that they can do anything, that they can go out and beat the crap out of innocent people and loot and destroy property because their life is already screwed, right? Their life is already over. There's an unspeakable obstacle in front of them, so it doesn't really matter what they do. So they throw away their lives with stupid behavior.
Actually, Judge, that's interesting that he says that because I was going to just mention this, and of course you can comment whatever you want. But Robert Peters is the Illinois Senate Black Caucus chair, and he said this today. Since I'm a glutton for punishment, and I'm sure I'm going to get the most unhinged crime weirdo replies, but I would look at the behavior of young people as a political act and statement. It's a mass protest against poverty and segregation, which then guarantees that even the 15 people that were arrested, he wouldn't blame them for crimes committed.
Look, there is a real disconnect between what people are saying and what is actually happening on the street. They tried to convince us with this in New York when Kathy Hochul ran for governor. She said there's a perception problem, and they're trying to make it a perception problem in Chicago because the day after this happened, Chicago police encouraged people to enjoy what the city has to offer a day after the teen chaos. Now, let me make one thing perfectly clear. You know, you can have people come out and say, like Brandon Johnson did, the new mayor of Chicago, it is not constructive to demonize the youth who have otherwise been starved of opportunity in their own communities. I disagree with him 100%. It is time to demonize them, and it is time to send them to jail. I am tired of the old argument, oh, is it the parents, or is it the school, or is it the police who should be in charge? Right now, when you're in a public area and you cause this mayhem and anarchy, this is when law enforcement's got to come in and there've got to be consequences. And the way they started this whole hearing in New York today, Dana, was, you know, Adler, Congressman Jerome Nadler, I should say, comes out and talks about, oh, this is really about someone else. Dan Goldman, okay? This is a guy who ran for Congress, and he was, you know, I'm a former prosecutor, and I know how to prosecute crime. And he then comes out and he says, your experiences, to the mother we just heard who painfully described what happened. He said, your experiences are devastating, but the problem is that this is a charade that's a cover-up for Donald Trump. This is not about a charade. This is about people living their lives in front of the rest of us. And the sooner we decide that there's got to be a plan to turn this around, the sooner these kids go online and they post, we're going to go out, we're going to steal, we're going to beat people up, we're going to jump on cars, we're going to break down buses, we're going to have fights, we're going to have those car spins. And by the way, in California, they actually passed a law specific to what they're doing with these, what do they call them, Greg, with these U-turns when they get the cars and
they're spinning them around.
Yeah,
and
they're spinning it.
I love how you guys think I would know the answer to that.
Yeah, she thought that.
Yeah.
I actually don't.
But there is a new crime that outlaws it, and it's time to put these kids in jail.
Jessica, you, again, feel free to talk about whatever you want, but I noticed this morning, each of the witnesses in New York, that when they gave their opening statement, the very first thing that they said was, I don't care what your politics are, this is what's happening here in our city.
Yeah.
I don't care. And so Jose Alba in particular said, I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat, I'm just here because this is what happened to me. And he's worried that it's going to happen to other people.
Most people aren't. Like the woman, remember, who had her baby carriage hit by the guy who's a liberal. She showed up on Tucker to talk to him about it. She said, absolutely nothing to do with my politics. They tried to kill my kid, and me too. Mm-hmm. And that's how people feel when there are a few issues that transcend politics. Crime happens to be one of them.
It used to be.
I still think that it does, honestly, because the approaches to how each of the parties want to deal with it and how they talk about people and who they're trying to demonize are so stark that you do end up looking at them differently. And to the point about this being a show trial this morning, I was very happy that the entire cohort of the Democrats showed up to do this with them.
Because they haven't to others.
They haven't to others. And they pointed out the fact that Jim Jordan represents somewhere where the crime rates are higher than New York City. Kevin McCarthy, Bakersfield. You have more of a chance of being a victim of violent crime if you live there than you do in New York City. They should have these meetings in Memphis, in St. Louis, tour the country, go to Toledo, go to Alabama. What went on in Alabama this weekend? It's heart-wrenching.
Oh, the Sweet 16 party.
Yeah, just absolutely devastating. Or you have a kid, a 16-year-old honor roll kid who shows up to pick up his twin siblings from someone's house, thinks they're there on a play date, he gets shot in the head. This is not about New York City, and they turned it into that because of Alvin Bragg. They wanted to show fealty to Donald Trump at this moment where he is saying that Alvin Bragg is coming for him, because if they cared about it just being a crime, they would show up at a city where the crime is worse than it is.
But this is the first of many hearings, they said, Will.
Yes,
all right, well,
yes.
I'm sure they'll be in Jim Jordan's hometown and Kevin McCarthy's hometown next.
Well, this morning on Fox and Friends, Jim Jordan told us they would be going around the country, and they thought their next stop would be Chicago. I don't think New York is an inappropriate place to start, because when you talk about the comparison of the crime going up in the city as compared to the choice to book, indict, and go after a presidential candidate for what amounts to a bookkeeping, we won't call it an error, but a bookkeeping violation. It shows a perverted sense of priorities in New York. Here's the thing. You can't stop an act if you can't describe an act. And Greg, I saw the same thing that you did in that my focus here is on the choice of words. Lori Lightfoot said, I wouldn't choose to call it mayhem. Well, I'm glad you've taken that moral stance, Lori. How about the mayor-elect of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, who also said this, Judge, he said, listen to this tortured and absolutely sinister choice of words. How about looting corporations who are taxing the populace in search so that they can turn a profit?
Yeah.
These corporations want to turn a profit, and that amounts to looting. This is the inability to describe an act. And to your point, Judge, the point is to change perception in our minds, in the citizens' minds, so that we can no longer understand reality. But when you're in the middle of what you just saw in Chicago, or you live here in New York, reality is unescapable.
Yep. The other thing on the hearing today in New York is that what is the federal taxpayer nexus is that there's a lot of money that goes to cities in order to
federal money.
that the federal government, federal taxpayers pay. That's you and me. So that is the nexus there. And the other thing, as I heard today, there was this guy in Chicago saying that it's Walmart's fault because that's why they have food deserts, because Walmart is trying to take advantage of the people. And Walmart just left.
Yeah.
They just closed 4 stores. And once you do 4, like, the next 4 probably is easier after you make that decision initially.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.